Well, we're off again. The Worrells, Dave and Karen Skews, Jenny and myself, and we're picking up the Wilsons in Singapore, and we're waiting at Tullamarine for the British Airways 747 to depart. We've arrived in Singapore, Robina and Richard Dorr, and all the others just standing there waiting for a bus. The whole crew, or just about the whole crew, is about to go out to do the usual tourist bit. We're going to see the sights of Singapore, heading down Orchard Road, Raffles, their new development, the Raffles Hotel, and we're heading across towards Chinatown. That's the main cricket ground outside the City Hall and City offices. That's their future test match location. There's the main emblem of Singapore, sitting outside a small harbour which takes ferries across to the Singapore Islands. Coming into Chinatown, with the Hindu temple standing at one of the main roads that goes through the Chinatown market, we're about to have our olfactory nerves, our nasal tubes blasted. The temperature's around about 33 degrees, humidity's 110%, and this is a typical market. You go in there, you can buy anything from frogs to vegetables to fish to tortoises, snakes, you name it, you can buy it there, and they all eat it. All the wares just put out on the footpath anywhere they can. Cages of green and purple frogs. Guys cleaning the fish. The turtles and tortoises just sitting in the pails on the sidewalk. Don't think Davey's too impressed. Margie's about to start on a 4 to 5 week shopping spree. And the only sign of any form of coolness or air conditioning we saw in Chinatown was this little guy standing up there with these blocks of ice, just breaking them up, keeping whatever he can cool. The smell in this area was what one could only describe as extremely overpowering. Anybody who likes fresh snake for dinner, go for your life. Fortunately, we didn't get served anything. We've just made a quick jump up to the mountain of Singapore, the whole 300 feet or 100 metres of it. You stand up here, you get a great view right over the city. That's part of the cable car that got hit by a ship about 12 to 18 months ago. The inquiry about who's to blame is still going on. They'll probably resolve it one day. At the moment, the whole cable car is still closed down. You stand up on this hill, you look right out over what is called the Singapore roads. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of ships just waiting out there to discharge or pick up cargoes. It's one of the main ports of the world. We've now jumped across to the Tiger Balm Gardens. You arrive at the front gate, and there's these little guys standing there with these, we believe, non-venomous snakes. They drape them around your neck, they give you a whistle. If you blow the whistle, they hit you for $10. Steve Whelan's standing there. I've never seen him stand so quietly for so long. The Tiger Balm Gardens, a world-renowned attraction in Singapore. Literally thousands of models of animals, humans, other features, copying characters and various things from all around the world. All brightly painted, all very gaily decorated, most interesting and well worth the look as we had. You could walk around little paths all over the place, through caves, through little tunnels, and have features just pointed out to you all over. There's Billy and his camera carrier. After the Tiger Balm Gardens, we visited a block of small factoriettes, had a very quick look at the botanical gardens, and then all the guys went out and bought their radio-controlled cars, the four-wheel drive vehicles, the racing cars, ran around the hotels with them, and took them all on to a year. After leaving Singapore, we headed across to Colombo, up through Abu Dhabi and on to Paris. After pushing ourselves through the bus queues and having a few words to say to a few irate Frenchmen, we arrived in the air. The qualifying series was sailed, and here we are standing waiting for buses to take us down to the dinner which will announce who's qualified for the final World Title Series. Most of the people that's staying at the hotel didn't have transport, and the organisers arranged buses to take us to the various dinners which were held during the series. This first night really put us in a situation where we understood what was to come. There were two buses waiting, a double-decker and a normal bus. We headed off and got about 3 or 4 kilometres down the road, and the double-decker bus broke down. The two bus drivers had a few words to say on the side of the road, and cars picked up people, and we went off across to the banquet dinner. It wasn't a bad night, up in the hills, a little restaurant in one of the wineries. But the organisation, I think one can only say that the French have a very interesting way of doing things. Good day, Mike. Here's the entourage getting ready to move off. The infamous double-decker bus, which, packed with people, gasped not too far away from its leaving point, and there's the two drivers working out how to carry out mechanical repairs. The next day we're on the beach, and the first races just got underway. People are sitting back enjoying the sun. The weather was absolutely beautiful. I don't think it got under about 30 degrees the whole time we were there. Sunny, very warm, very pleasant, bar just behind the beach. Attractions on the beach were quite pleasant to observe. People with binoculars up the back could alternate between the foreshore and out to the horizon. Mike seems to have found something down the beach to keep his attention. I think he's pointed that to Margie, and Margie's quite happy to have Bill 2 or 3 miles out to sea. Just down the coast from the air, there's this delightful little village called Gien, which has a typical Mediterranean boat harbour. Little marina with quite a few nice yachts, a few other boats tied up, the usual fishing fleet with their nets draped out all over the place. Absolutely delightful to go and just sit on the side of the marina or the breakwater and just have a look around. Back on the beach, there's a lot of distractions just to keep your attention while the guys are out in the water blasting away. During the titles, the pit crews put in a hell of a lot of work. Just covering people with suntan oil, helping to pick up boats, move things around. The guys who were sailing are putting out 3 races a day nearly every day. One day I think they sailed 4 races. They got their full 10 in, and it was pretty tiring for the guys out in the water, and they needed every bit of help they could get. Dave and Deirdre Horton called in for a week and a half while they were in Europe for about 3.5 months for their long service leave. It was great to see them again, and I think they thoroughly enjoyed themselves as far as the sailing was concerned. As you're well aware, Dave can be a little bit outspoken, and with the accommodation he was provided with, he let everybody know what he thought of the place. Tony Laurent just had a short stop over. He's been over there since the Nationals in Melbourne last January. And he was sailing in various Swiss titles and the European titles. I think he came second in the Europeans, and I think after the Worlds were over, he had an invite to go down to sail in the Italian titles. I think Rubina's just having a few kind words to say. For the 3 days racing up until the cut for the last 36, the winds were averaging between 5 and 15 knots. And anything from 45, 90, 180 degree wind shifts. Just happening all the time. A little bit frustrating for the guys out in the water, but this guy, Brett, he came over and those sort of things didn't seem to worry him. He just went out there and blasted everybody off the course. Here's Rob Engwerder, not too impressed with how he went in the race before. And Captain Pelassi directing the traffic. And these peddlers just walking up and down the beach selling their hats and their bags and their beads to anybody who wanted to talk to them about it. Gear failures were a fairly common thing. Rudder castings, particularly jib halyards, seemed to be going all the time. And there were blokes just running backwards and forwards or laying their boats over in the water, just trying to repair the various things which were giving away. Here's Billy. It's the last day before the final cut. He's just won the 10th heat. And he's as happy as the dog with the proverbial two whatchamacallits. And there's a guy over there in a blue t-shirt. Very camera shy, this boy. Extremely camera shy. G'day, Mark. We're heading up to the dinner which they'll announce the guys who've made the final cut to the 36. Don about to show me how I can play cricket. Oh! A little bit too close. And here's Wheels just deciding he'd rather stay outside with a little girl he's met from Hong Kong. Yeah, you're having a good time too, Wheels, and we know. Our banquet meal, what you'd call a real banquet. Bowl of rice for an entree, horse meat on noodles for the main course, and artificial chocolate mousse. There were a few sore stomachs the next morning, but everyone seemed to be enjoying themselves with the drinks, etc. Margie, no, I won't move the camera. Now here's Palas, Bert White and Ray Armstrong. Doing a bit of iron, whoops, careful. And I'll tell you what, fellas, I'm not editing this thing out of the tape, much as you've asked me to. After the banquet meal, we went across to the disco, which was at the hotel. And after being asked to pay about 35 francs, or about $5 or $6 for a beer, a few of the people objected. One of the guys got a smash bottle thrust in his face, and then a few of the French guys who were in the roller skating rink next door came in with a few baseball bats and decided they want to have a bit of a game, and people thought, well, it's about time we got out of here. So we sort of left and went back and had a talk about it in the room. After hearing the threats about all the people being kicked out of the hotel, and the management was going to smash up any boat they found on the beach the next morning, it was quite gratifying to get there the next day and find out that the boats were still all in one piece and everyone had managed to calm down, but it was an interesting night. Doug Campbell, thinking about what's behind and what's still to come. The next morning, the wind was up, the final cut had been made, the last 36 guys went out for the last few races. The wind was blowing about 15 to 18 knots and people going out there getting ready to have a real ball. Hobie Alter's new wife. And the scenery just seems to be getting better and better. Don Algie and Claire back to the beach very quickly, broken rudder casting, and it's a matter of get the things changed over and get them back out in the water as quickly as possible. Karen enjoying a quiet little bit of lunch. Doesn't like to be interrupted when she's eating. We managed to get one of the cameras out on the start boat. Mark Pryke took the camera out, got out in the water, get a few shots of some of the boats when the wind was up. Only thing, Mark, you got to learn to hold that camera steady. Well, while waiting for the starts on the last day, people just blasting around the wind, just enjoying it, getting ready for their last little fling. And they're heading for the starting line, the morning race, second last race of the series, getting ready to go. And I think they're just about off now. The afternoon race, last race. Doug Campbell sporting his new Australian t-shirt, and Brett Drone, who's already won the Hobie 18 world titles. He doesn't have to sail this race, but he goes out anyway, and he comes in second. Some photographers have just got to play with a camera. And the tremolo, the try, is just cruising around, just watching what's going on. And here's Brett and Robin coming in, finishing second in the last race of the 18 world titles. That's all over. Brett and Robin back on the beach being congratulated. He's the new Hobie 18 world champion. And I think the traditional ducking is about to come. Here's Ian Bashford having a talk to Hobie and Jeff Alder. Very tired robbing Werder. He's catching a plane at about 7 o'clock tomorrow morning out of Marseille, so he's not going to get much sleep tonight. Dean Froome, happy as ever, Graham Sanderson. Tony the Rent and Wheels just discussing tactics. And here's our magnificent accommodation. And the only other attraction of the year was the swimming pool. And just going through a walk, having a walk through the Wilson Crawford 2-bedroom luxury apartment. Presentation night at a delightful little vineyard up on the hills outside of Hyeres. Every night everybody had a great time. The only problem was we had 2 buses take us up there, and one bus was supposed to make 2 trips to bring the people back to the hotel. The bus driver made his first trip, decided to go home to bed, left about 60 people up there waiting until about 3:30 in the morning. Really great when the organisers, the people who were running the show, had to then ferry everyone back by car, and particularly bad for the guys who had to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to catch a plane out of Marseille to come back to Australia.
Down there and very clean. A lot of people doing their 720s. You guys are very much to be congratulated. We sure appreciate it on the protest committee. We've had a World Council meeting at this event and picked a few smaller world sites.
She's over there with the Aussie.
coming up in January of next year, be the 14 Worlds in the Philippines. Should prove to be a really excellent event. That's the 14th to the 22nd. In probably October of next year, we'll have the 16 Worlds. Right now, it looks like Fort Walton Beach, Florida. The next 18 Worlds, if everything goes well, will be Australia, 1985.
I'm going.
In 36th place, Mick Whitehead from South Africa. Tony Laurent and Peter Andre Laflaque.
Il me rate de sa hell!
32nd place, 32e place, 178 points, with 178 points. From Holland, la 31e place. From Australia, Robert McLean et A. Phillips. In 30th place, in 31e place avec 170 points, 170 points. From Italy, Marino Antonio Pozzani, 170 points. Eric Hasselbach, 8.6. From Sydney, 27th, USA, Salkind and Salkind. 26e place, 26th place with 156 points. 16e point, 16e place, pardon. 121,75 points, 121.75 points from Estonalji and Claire James from Australia.
Call him. We'll go out there where they are, please.
John!
Points point, 111 points from Espoir et Guy Pasquier, point with 107.75 points from.
That's Billy.
That's Bill Wall and David Good. La 13e place avec 100 points.
That's 13.
So we got 13, 14, 15.
Okay, you're in 12th place. 12th place. 98 points. 98 points. Pearl Fraser and Kevin Miller. Okay, is the worst race was an 18th. There's an 18th, a 12th, a 15th, a 7th, a 15th, a 4th, a 8th, a 15th, Peter, a 18th from Australia.
Good on you, Rob.
In ninth place, we're gone. Champagne for the first 12 places. Thank you, Hobie USA. Une chose que 2 semaines passées, cet gars, il n'a pas encore fait de 18. C'est la première fois qu'ils ont fait la Hobie 18. C'est un moment de championnat d'Europe. Fourth place, 4e place. Le dernier champion du monde, the past Hobie 18 world champion, with 62.75 points, avec 62,75 points. Ian Bashford and Stephen Whelan from Australia. Here's the finishes. He's got 1/8, a 10th, a 5th, a 3rd, a 2nd, 3 first place. His worst race, la plus mauvaise manche, avec 3 fois première place. Plus mauvaise manche, c'était un 11e, avec 33,25 points, with 33.25 points. He was a past Hobie 16 world champion. Il était un dernier championnat du monde Hobie 16. Il a en ce moment le current champion de World 1000. He's a current World 1000 winner. Current 1000 winner, it's Brett Dryland and Robin Whitehead.
not at home on the sea, but Brett Dryland of Australia proved the opposite when he won the World Hobie Catamaran 18 Championships in Hyeres in the south of France. Second was Carlton Tucker and third David Rogers, both from the USA. Yachts from Europe, the USA, Australia, South Africa, Hong Kong and Singapore competed in the week-long championship. The tournament was run in an unusual fashion, with 72 skippers using the 36 boats supplied by the World Hobie Class Association. It was a round-robin competition, with all skippers competing in half the races and against every other competitor at least once. No competitor sailed the same yacht twice. Winner Brett Dryland back on terra firma with third place getter David Rogers.
Back in